It's 8 p.m. and here are our top stories. A box of human heads stolen out of a truck in Denver.
You mean to tell me a block away from my house?
We know you have questions.
Why was it able to get stolen? Why was the truck parked there too?
New details only make a little bit more sense.
Indigenous people in Colorado gone missing, and their disappearances are often underreported.
You would think that you know where to go and who to call and what to do, but you don't.
Now state lawmakers are stepping in.
Stop turning our heads away from the problem and create a program that will really go to start solving this problem.
A hard hit to your wallet.
It's ridiculous. So I just spent $90.
Gas prices on the rise with no end in sight. Now professional drivers can't afford to keep their foot on the gas any longer.
It impacts my bottom line, yeah, which is, frustrating.
Good evening and thank you for watching Denver 7 News on Local 3. I'm Jessica Porter.
I'm Danny New. We begin tonight with a crime out of Denver that sounds like it's from a horror movie. The police are looking for a box of human heads that was stolen out of a truck.
A lot of questions with this story. Denver 7's Colette Bordelon is digging for answers about where those heads came from and where they were going.
Near East 23rd Avenue, disturbing news is making its way around the neighborhood.
You mean to tell me a block away from my house?
Pila Ross, who didn't want to be on camera, can't believe a box of human heads meant for medical research were stolen out of a company's truck not far from where she lives.
You never know what those heads were going to be used for one. And for two, what are you going to do with them now that you found them?
The ripple effect of the donations taken goes beyond the initial shock.
I don't think people understand the negative impact that an event like this can have on our industry.
At TomorrowLink, a whole body donation program,
this is where all of the education happens.
Yep, so this is our lab.
Those who have passed on are helping those still here, something close to the nonprofit's heart.
I love what I do. I lost my dad years ago.
Understanding the gravity behind the donations, used for future first responders or medical professionals, getting them ready to piece together any healthcare puzzles.
I know what you're talking about, where the pain's coming from, why it's happening this way. So it really just puts it more in a visual perspective than just blurbing out words.
And while it wasn't their company that was stolen from, they know what that box contained.
It holds the opportunity to save a life.
The theft has the local industry thinking hard about security.
Make sure that we're doing everything we can at all times to make sure those gifts are safe.
Because from the donor to the future of medicine.
Not only for enhancing medical training, but allows that individual's legacy to live on.
What was stolen from that truck in Denver may have held answers we all could use.
That was Colette Bordelon reporting. Thank you, Colette. And Science Care could not interview with us today, but they naturally say that they want to find that white cardboard box, which has a blue Science Care logo on it. And if you have any information, please call Denver Police at the number on your screen, which is 720-913-2000.
There are currently hundreds of missing people in Colorado, and for those who identify as Indigenous, cases often go unsolved.
A new bill set to be introduced in the legislature this week would create an Office of Missing and Murdered Indigenous Relatives, otherwise known as MMIR. The office would be tasked with creating an alert system for missing and murdered Indigenous people. It would train first responders on how to handle these cases, work on improving data tracking, and review cold cases. Also, it would take a closer look at deaths that were ruled to be a suicide or overdose, but that were under suspicious circumstances. Now, one of the big hurdles these cases face is jurisdictional complications, where there is not a clear understanding of the protocols for interagency cooperation since tribal nations are involved. We spoke with the bill's prime sponsor, Colorado State Senator Jessie Danielson, about why she is bringing this bill forward.
Indigenous people in Colorado, in particular Indigenous women and children, are victims of violent crime at an extraordinarily higher rate than any other group of people in the state and across the country. So I felt it was my obligation to do what's right.
And we also heard from families today about what an office with this focus and state resources would mean to them. Todd Lertjun-Tharangul's sister, Kim, has been missing since March. She was last seen at a light rail station in Greenwood Village. Now, his family has come up with a reward and put up billboards to try and find her, but they say many others can't.
A lot of the Native families that are experiencing this may not have the wherewithal or the means or the resources to mount real significant efforts to identify and find their loved ones that may be missing. I can't even put into words how happy that makes me and how supportive of those families approach like that would be.
As of December, the Colorado Bureau of Investigations shows 14 missing Indigenous people in Colorado. 15 other states have already taken steps to address MMIR cases.
U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken is calling on Russia to end its war in Ukraine and give citizens a safe path to flee the country. Today, Ukraine's president held a third round of talks with Russia and said progress was made on enforcing peaceful corridors to safely evacuate citizens. As of now, the UN says there have been more than 400 civilian deaths. Meanwhile, despite President Zelensky's pleas, the U.S. and NATO remain opposed to enforcing a no-fly zone over the country. While the damage from Russia's relentless onslaught continues to turn Ukrainian neighborhoods into horrifying hellscapes, the Pentagon says that they believe Russia hasn't made the progress they thought they would in taking over the country.
They are having morale problems. They are having supply problems. They are having fuel problems. They are having food problems. They are meeting a very stiff and determined Ukrainian resistance.
And one other thing to note, Russian forces are now seeking to recruit foreign fighters, including Syrians, to aid in their deadly invasion.
Due in part to the crisis in Ukraine and a transition to summer prices, the average price for a gallon of gas in the U.S. is now more than $4 a gallon. This weekend, we hit the milestone for the first time since 2008. AAA reports Colorado was below the national average at about $3.75. That's up nearly 40 cents, though, from last week. Putting this in perspective, here's a look at the states with the highest and lowest averages right now. Missouri's average is the lowest at $3.67. It's looking more like liquid gold, though, in the Golden State. Californians are the highest paying in the nation, averaging $5.32. And there seems to be no end in sight for those rises in prices. Denver 7's Sloan Dickey continues our coverage tonight. Sloan, you spoke to drivers who say this is hurting their bottom line.
Yeah, we spoke with drivers of all stripes today, and they are all becoming increasingly frustrated with that rise in gas prices. And while Colorado may be just a few cents shy of that $4 national average, we're still seeing sharp increases in just over the past week. We spoke with drivers at the pump today who were shocked to see prices so high. In fact, according to AAA, 93% of Coloradans see high oil prices as a concern, and 50% saying it is simply too expensive. High gas prices are impacting more than just drivers at the pump. We spoke with a pizza delivery driver at Cosmos Pizza. He says this is impacting his ability to make a living.
It's a lot of driving. It's a lot of, I got to go from one place to another and end up spending a lot of gas just trying to drive to places, and that, it adds up.
And one more statistic to share with you. If gas prices don't ease up, Americans could lose an average of $2,000 by the end of the year. Reporting live downtown, Sloan Dickey, Denver 7.
Coming up on Denver 7 News at 8. A dangerous Denver intersection. Overrun with reckless drivers. Now those living nearby are fearing for the worst.
We're a block north of an elementary school. We're two blocks south of a children's park.
Generally dry and quiet for Tuesday, but this storm means more snow Wednesday and Thursday.
Plus, know nothing about bocce ball? A few months ago, neither did this teenager, and now he's internationally decorated in the sport.
The thought that I had in my mind is I knew I deserved to be there,